You think Brett Kavanaugh's going to be seated? He's the guy that God wants in. That's what you think.
God has not shown me anything specifically on that. I can just tell you what I'm sensing is that I believe he is the man who God has chosen for that. He will be confirmed.
Well, that's another thing that you said that at first you said that he was going to have 3 Supreme Court judges and then 5.
Right.
Now some people have said, well, listen, he should have known it was 5 right from the beginning. God should have known that. But you say it's okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just telling you about the criticism that
I get it every day. Trust me.
Okay, and what was the reason for that? I mean, there was 3 to 5.
God can't change his mind. It's biblical, period. And people want to say, well, you're a false this or false that. He should have known it from the beginning. God can't change his mind. It is biblical. So, I mean, did I hear wrong or incorrectly? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say I heard correctly or not, but I think maybe there was a point in time, maybe God could have changed his mind. He originally told me 3. And then he came back and says, Mark, now it's going to be 5. So did God change his mind? I don't know.
5 Supreme Court justices.
5 Supreme Court justices that he said one was going to die, one was going to retire, and 3 would be caught in a scandal. Now, here's the thing people have to be careful with the prophetic is that even though they've been caught in a scandal, we may never hear about that scandal. And they've been forced to retire, so to speak. But there was a scandal that forced them out, if that makes sense.
What would happen if it was revealed that because nobody ever ran down the Joe Arpaio accusations that he had a computer generated fraud of a birth certificate.
Right.
His records in college are sealed, which is really kind of weird. And every day that brings us up, oh, you're a birther, you're crazy. Well, wait. Have you ever? Nobody has ever proven Arpaio, sheriff from Arizona, wrong. His investigators wrong that he had a computer generated fraud of a birth certificate.
Right, and I think you're going to see all that come out. I mean, and there's a lot of speculation as to who was behind Obama, who was behind putting him through college. Well, it was the Saudi Arabians. It was a prince from Saudi Arabia. Well, lo and behold, the prophetic sign that was given with the horse was an Arabian-style horse. So, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. So, I mean, there's more proof that God's giving signs as to what's coming.
So you think that this is we're in full-fledged, the prophecy is being revealed right now. It is unfolding right now.
Right now, because, here's the thing, Greg. The last number I saw, I think, was around 52,000 sealed indictments. And so, I mean, again, you got to look at how long does it take to put 52,000 cases together, man. I mean, we don't want these people walking on a technicality. We don't want Obama and Hillary walking on a technicality. I would rather be patient and wait a little longer and make sure they go to Gitmo for the rest of their life. They're going to sweat it out the rest of their days.
Oh, I think they're going to go to federal prison. I don't think they're going to go to Gitmo. I think the cases are going to be adjudicated.
Wherever the cases end up, they're going to be in prison for the rest of their life.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this unredaction, this release of all the fraudulent FISA warrants, the text emails, Comey and Andrew McCabe. That's another thing Jan just said. He says, well, there's my sources have told me that there are threats of violence against the president.
Right.
With Comey and McCabe. And all this other, which listen, they have enough evidence that proves beyond any reasonable doubt this was a frame job. This was a failed coup. They were going to knock Trump out of office after they exonerated Hillary Clinton without any kind of an investigation. She clearly committed multiple felonies. Okay. So what do you make of this? This now they're saying that the top members of the Democratic side, Schumer, Pelosi, are telling Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, and Rob Rosenstein, who's over at supervising this Mueller witch hunt, fraud, illegitimate, ill-conceived, illegitimate investigation, because we know that there was no evidence of collusion when Mueller was seated, according to Lisa Page, the attorney for Andrew McCabe. And anyway, what do you make of them telling them to be insubordinate and not do what the president of the United States, their boss, says to do, and release unredacted documents, release all this junk?
Right, and because that is the start of it, Greg. That is the shot that starts the race right there. And people better be prepared, because the civil unrest is going to take place initially. I don't believe it's going to be from the people. It'll be from the paid agitators, from the DNC, from George Soros and these guys. Eventually, it may lead into something larger once they start the mass arrests. But there are protection mechanisms in place. So I mean, and this is where people are just going to have to keep your head on a swivel. We just had another shooting the other day. The deep state is kicking and screaming. They're going to pull out. I tweeted the other day. I said, be prepared. The deep state between now and the elections is going to get very intense. Look for false flag shootings, weather events. We just had a hurricane, fires, whatever the case may be. They're going to pull out every weapon of their warfare right now because they don't want the truth coming out, because they know that an awakened public, if you will, is a very dangerous adversary to the deep state. Period. They don't want people awakened, and this is the Great Awakening.
Are they going to crash the economy? I mean, that's what I've heard they want to do. They want to crash the dollar. They want to crash the economy. Actually, the United States doesn't want a strong dollar because it can, hurt the emerging markets who have borrowed all this debt in dollars and now has to pay it back in more expensive dollars.
Right.
Are they going to try to crash the economy? We have a lot of debt. We got the 21 trillion debt. I know you've been following along. We got the additional 21 trillion at least, according to Dr. Mark Skidmore, the professor of economics at Michigan State University, and his team of people did an investigation and found 21 trillion missing from DOD and HUD.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
I don't. Are they going to crash the economy? I don't know. God's not showing me anything on that. I mean, again, I just know the dollar's going to be the strongest it's ever been. We're going to have the strongest economy we've ever had. How we get there, I don't know. I don't have the details, and that could be one of the details. Could we be in for a reset of some type? Could be. I have no clue.
Could we get rid of the dollar, the Federal Reserve note, and go back to an actual dollar? I think
they're going to get rid of the Fed. That I do believe.
You think they're going to get rid of the Fed?
I think they're going to get rid of the Fed.
That's not a prophetic thing. That's just
that's just my gut feeling. They're going to get rid of the Fed.
Well, I mean, if you look right now, we have two different currencies right now. People don't realize this.
Right.
A $quarter isn't a $quarter note; it's a $quarter.
Right.
A half. A Sakakawea dollar is a treasury instrument. It's a dollar. We don't need the Fed.
Right.
Actually, we
all know who's behind the Fed too. We all know who's behind the Fed.
Well, actually, I mean, we actually give the Federal Reserve treasury bills, treasury notes, treasury bonds. We give them treasury instruments, and then they produce their notes so they produce notes, and then we pay them in interest to produce their crappy notes.
Right.
I mean, that's how that works. We don't need them. The Congress can just coin money.
Right. Yeah, I think that's coming. I think there's again, it's a timing thing. There's a lot going on with what's going on around the world right now globally. There's other things that probably have to take place first, but I think at some point it's going to happen. What the plan is, I don't know. They could rip the Band-Aid off and do it all at one shot. Mass arrest, the feds, all this stuff. The Fed going down. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be done.
I will tell you that you talked about China being put in its place, and lo and behold, and I just want to read this headline, the U.S. will bear responsibility. China furious after U.S. sanctions Beijing for buying Russian weapons. That's just out on Friday. On Zero Hedge, and then they just had this, one of the biggest China and Russia war games ever. And you've been saying that China's going to get beat down. I got to tell you, I mean, from a technical standpoint, just as I'm not trying to do prophecy. I'm not. I'm just telling you that technically the Chinese are weak. They cannot stand a trade war. They are not doing well. They were trying to get back, and then Trump, bam, hit them with this trade war, and that is not what they needed. They're not doing well.
One of your shows, one or two of them ago, I said that I felt like there was something coming for China that was going to put them in their place. It could be a trade war, it could be tariffs, it could be whatever the case may be, all the above. And I think you're seeing that taking place right now. Everybody was worried about Russia. Russia is not our immediate threat. China is the immediate threat. And this is why I felt like God was going to do something to put China in its place. And they've been doing that. They just made this arms deal. I think weren't they buying energy or something from a different country that was under sanction? I can't remember what it was.
Well, they're buying jets from Russia. They're buying.
Right, but they were also doing some oil stuff. I think from somewhere that I thought I read somewhere. But anyhow, the point is that there's something coming. It's already happening right now with China. God's putting China in their place. They're attacking Christians. They're burning Bibles. They're doing all these things right now. Try to again, you got to ask yourself, like North Korea, who's behind China, who's running China. I mean, we found out who was truly running North Korea. It wasn't Kim Jong-un. So, I mean, again, all these things are taking place right now. And look at this right now. Here's another one. Breitbart just came out with an article, said that America was the #1 oil producer in the world.
Correct.
Last night, and I wrote that prophecy, energy, that said America and Israel will be the #1 energy producers. That's not just oil. energy, period. So we haven't quite got there yet, that I thought, until last night at the Las Vegas rally. Donald Trump, in front of the entire world, said America is now the #1 energy producer in the world, period.
Which is, that's what he wanted. That's what you prophesized too. That's another prophecy that's come to roost.
Right.
You said energy, right? And then
Energy.
right when he got in, this whole tax thing, people don't realize that the tax thing opened up ANWR, opened up drilling, opened up all kinds of stuff, and that went right. I mean, the Sierra Club, all these, liberal Democrats, that just flew right under the radar.
One of my business partners is an oil guy, and he told me, he said, after Donald Trump had got into office, he said, Mark, well, here's what they're not reporting, is all these oil rigs that went down to Central and South America to drill under Obama, they're now picking up, and they were on their way back after he got into office, literally.
Evidently they got here.
Evidently they got here because we are now the world's #1 energy producer, and God told us this was coming.
Yeah, we're a net energy exporter. China also, they're doing this horrible. I mean, Google was helping, Voto Latino. They say they didn't help anybody. They're not political, but come on. Right. And then they're helping China do this search engine that is censoring search engine in China. China is also working on this deal where they watch everything you do. And if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, you don't get loans, you don't get good jobs, you become non-citizen, you can end up in the street living under a sheet of cardboard.
Right.
And that's what they want to bring here.
Right.
That's what Google wants to help China bring to the world. Yeah, Google. Yeah, don't do evil.
Yeah.
What's their slogan?
That's not going to happen. And here's the other thing,
well,
too.
Why do you think that's not going to happen?
Well, number one, because God has already spoken, it's not going to happen, period. That's first and foremost. And second of all is that the plan has already been put in place and it's unfolding right before our eyes. I hate to keep harping on this, but I'm gonna harp on it anyway, is that, there are Christians who are being, their Bibles are being burned. I mean, they're forced underground. They're being forced to renounce their Christianity in China right now. And what the people over here need to understand, we were this close for that happening here in America. That was the plan here in America. And where has the church been for decades? The church has gotten out of politics. They've gotten out of that realm. All they've been caring about has been wealth and influence. And the problem is we have allowed this stuff to come in. The church is the spiritual and moral compass of any nation, period. And when you look at this and what's going on globally, you want to know why globally we're on fire right now, or America's on fire, is because the church hasn't done its job. Now, let me give you another case in point now. Let me give you another case in point. Is the clergy response team. The clergy response team literally is a group of pastors who have signed non-disclosures with the government, and this goes way back, even back into Bush 43, that they were to activate under a natural disaster or martial law. Because this is what was coming now. So under that pretense, or under that order, they were to go around under martial law or natural disaster, and they were activated in Katrina, by the way, and they were to pervert, they're being told by the government to pervert Romans 13, that you must submit to civil government, which Jesus never did, by the way. And they would literally come to your house with federal agents and get you to submit to them and take you to an FEMA internment camp. Now, which is a politically correct saying, of a way of saying a concentration camp. And trust me when I tell you, folks, they were going to round the Christians up in this country, or those who were resisting them. You were going to go into a FEMA camp, and then God knows what else, probably execution. Now, when you went into these FEMA camps, they were to separate you as a family, which is what the clergy was there to do, was to help you in your grief being separated from your family. Now, here's what you have to understand about this clergy.
Now, wait, before we go on, here's what you have to understand. It's good.